Hey y'all, what's up? I'm Brian with Fisher's Off-Road, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to install the Yamaha glass windshield kit. Now this fits the 2021 and up Yamaha RMAX 2, RMAX 4, X2 and X4. Calls for about 2.5 hours of installation time, so let's go ahead and get it started. Alright, the first thing it calls for us to do is remove the hood. Now that we have the hood removed, we're going to go ahead and take the firewall off. There's 5 10mm bolts up top and 4 on the bottom, so we'll get those bolts removed and get the firewall off. After you get all the bolts removed, there's 2 tabs up top here that's holding the firewall on there. What you'll have to do is you'll have to pop that tab up like that to get it off of there. There's one on the passenger side and on the driver's side. The next thing we need to do is add these lower support brackets, and they're going to go right in here on the frame, and what that's going to do is help hold the windshield up so it doesn't have this plastic dash panel and all the windshield and the support's not sitting on top of that. But what I would recommend is taking this plastic dash panel off so that way you can get into it really easy and bolt it in there, because it's kind of tight in there, and what you have to do to get these bolted in there is going to be some work if you don't take this dash plate off. So we're going to go ahead and remove this. This is 7 T25s. So you have 6 that you can get to on the top, and then your 7th one is actually inside right here in this panel here. So you remove that one. Once you get this panel off of here, then you have access to everything right inside of here. So this is where your lower support bracket's going to go in. It's going to sit in here like this, and this lip is going to go towards the rear of the vehicle, and we're going to take our 2 M6x20 thread forming bolts and we're going to put them right in the frame. All right, we have our first one in there, nice and solid. Now we'll go ahead and get our second one installed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put our wiring harness in to one of our accessory ports. There's 5 of them underneath your firewall, and that's one of the coolest things about getting a Yamaha accessory is you know it's going to be plug and play. So we're going to go ahead and take the dust cover off, and we're going to go ahead and plug in this one, and you'll know this is the one because it says accessory harness. You know that's where it plugs in, and this right here says wash. This one over here says motor, so you know exactly what all the connectors go to. You're going to take the connector here, the end of it that says motor, and you're going to run this over here towards the A-pillar, so that way you can just run it up the A-pillar to the switches themselves on your windshield. Now we'll go ahead and assemble our jug. Put our cap on top here like that, and then we'll take this rubber grommet here and we'll give it a little help getting in there, just like that. And then this is our motor. So we'll take and push it in right like that. All right, so now we got our motor on here, we got our cap on here, we're ready to go. We're going to go ahead and mount our jug next, and one thing I did was I put the hose on here first, because once you put it down in here and you mount it, it would be really difficult to put that hose on there. So you want to make sure you put your hose on before you mount your bottle. So we're going to get after a couple bolts here so we can mount it. We're going to do this bolt here and this bolt here. We're going to put our bracket right here. It's going to mount right like that so we can put our jug on there. We're going to kind of let a little slack in that so we can move it around to put our jug on there. And then this one here, we're going to take this one out. So we'll go ahead and put this bolt in. And we'll take this nut and bolt here. And we'll put it on there. Now we'll go ahead and secure this up. All right, there's your jug, nice and solid. Now we'll take the hose and we'll actually work that back around through the firewall and up the A-pillar on the passenger side. Now that we're at this point, we're going to go ahead and reinstall the upper firewall. These are your left and right support pillars. You'll notice that they have an R on one and an L on the other. So your right is your passenger side, your left is your driver's side. You'll also notice there's a channel down through here. This is where your wiring and your hose will go when you mount it. Next thing we'll do is add our support seals to the bottom and the top of our support pillars. You want to take an alcohol rubbing pad and get those nice and clean. So we'll go ahead and put this on here. So I'm just going to run it right up to the edge there and put it on right like that. And then I'll just trim it where there's any excess. You're going to have 3 stock clamps on your sunroof that you're going to remove. I had to do some customization here for me because I already had wires running up my A-pillar coming up here to my radio and all my stuff I got going on up top here. So what I did was I took the wire going to the motor and I taped it together with all my current wires that I have going up here to my other electronics. So I'm gonna have to try and make this fit in here. I mean, it's a fairly deep tray, but I don't know if it's deep enough to get all this in here. So if this doesn't work, I'm gonna have to figure something else out. But we're gonna go ahead and start lining it up and try and get it in there. All right, I have this left side here, or driver's side, all squared away. I got the wires tucked in there and put my bolts in and still left them a little bit of play in there. All right, we're gonna see what we can do here on the passenger side. See if I can't route my wires outside of the pillar support here, because I don't want to pinch the hose for the fluid. Now that we have our pillar supports installed and we have our windshield installed, the studs come through the holes on the pillar support. Then you take your collar plates, you have 4 of these, and you'll put them in over the studs just like that. And you'll want to make sure that that's nice and flat, so that way you can put your nuts on there and get them started. Just like that. Now that we have everything tightened up, we're going to go ahead and hook up our hose and our power. One thing to keep in mind is on the X2, you won't have a channel in your sun top to run the wires through, so you'll have to zip tie the wires and the hose to the ROPS. I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing. I'm going to zip tie my wires and my hose to the ROPS because I already have the channel in the sun top filled up with wires to my rugged radio and my speaker and all the stuff I have going on up top here. Now that I have everything pretty much laid out, I know where it's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and put the clamps in for the roof. Now we're going to go ahead and put our windshield washer fluid in here, and I like to use something like a Rain-X 2-in-1, and this is good for removing grime, and also after you use this for a while, it starts beading up on your windshield, so that way you don't have to use your wiper as much and everything comes off a lot easier. We're going to go ahead and fill up our jug here, give it a test run. And I'm waiting to button everything up, like the firewall and all that, just to make sure I got everything hooked up right and there's no issues and I don't have to go back in and tear something apart. All right, she's full. Right now we're gonna go ahead and turn the key on and fire this bad boy up and see if it works. Let's try the juicer. Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. The cool thing about this one is it has 2 speeds. You got high and you got low. The juicer is it's pretty intense. Man, that thing will definitely shoot some fluid out there, that's for sure. After testing it out, I noticed that the juicers come out on the driver's side and the passenger side. They can't be moved, but the cool thing about that is if you do have some mud or something on the driver's side or the passenger side, it gets to it even faster instead of having one that shoots right down straight in the center, or sometimes they're connected to the wiper and it'll go back and forth. It doesn't really get the windshield washer fluid where it needs to be to clean your windshield up. So it's pretty cool how they have one on the driver's side and the passenger side to really keep it nice and clean for you. Well, there you go, y'all. That's a wrap on the Yamaha glass windshield install. Takes about 2.5 hours. It's not that it's really difficult. It's just a little bit time consuming, but it's well worth it when the project is done. If you want even more information, you can go to yamaha-motor.com or check out your local Yamaha dealer. We'll see y'all. Take care. Have a good one.